Hello and welcome to Your Vita, the online learning community that makes coaching affordable for everyone. Over the last 50 odd years, I've been fortunate enough to see some really inspirational, motivational and inspiring speakers, but none are as good as the man I'm fortunate enough to be interviewing today, the wonderful Mike Stevenson from Scotland. Mike, tell us a little bit about your life story.
Well, after that introduction, I feel compelled to say something about my life story, because the reason I do what I do is accumulation of a lot of events in my life. And I'll be very brief about this, but there are two ways of learning. One is through the conventional route of school, college, university, and exams. I was an abject failure at school, and I was asked to leave when I was 15. And I wondered about why I'd been such a failure, because I then went on to get a few jobs. I found myself very adept in work. Things went a bit awry when I arrived in London and got a job, and none of the customers could understand a word I said, apparently. So I found myself out in the streets, and sleeping out in London for a year was difficult. It was hard. It was depressing at times, but I learnt so much during that period. And then I had a succession of jobs. So I worked in the building trade, I worked in steelworks, I worked in factories, I worked as a hospital orderly. And the learning gained through all of that was quite extraordinary. So I discovered that learning in real life settings was what really sparked my interest. And one of the things that I became very good at was, using persuasion and engagement, because I have been in so many settings where people argue, people lose the plot, where we see, nowadays debates turning into bun fights. And it is all so unnecessary. And I think this is a really essential skill, because we've all got opinions, we've all got positions, but there's no point in having a position and having a real passion about something if you can't persuade others to join you, to ascribe to your point of view. So this is why I do what I do now. I've had a long road of learning, and some of it's been very difficult, very challenging. But I discovered a talent early on in life that I could hold a room, that I could engage people. I could even negotiate with policemen when I was out on the streets sleeping. Negotiate in my favor, incidentally. So I knew that I could do it. And I suppose what I've done in recent years, I'm a speaker on the circuit now. I've been speaking for over 25 years. And I've been a businessman. I've had a very successful company, a multi-million-pound company. So I also bring all of that experience of being a leader in business, and a successful leader in business. And interestingly, my business was about communication. It was about, finding creative means to market, to advertise, to speak to your customers, to engage your customers. So add all that in, and I have, accumulated over all of that a space in the world which really is about not how to speak to people, not how to write, but how to use words in a way that fascinates, engages, moves people, because it's all about, reaching them emotionally. Because when you reach someone emotionally, it travels to the mind. The logical brain does not take a lot of information in. And it doesn't, I say, don't inform me, inspire me. If they'd done that at school, I might have had a much more successful academic career. As it happens, I'm glad I didn't, because the way I learnt has been so much more useful in my adult life.
Mike, I have been fortunate enough to hear you speak on numerous occasions, and the power of your words and the way you use them and the art of storytelling that you bring into the way you talk, and the way you explain everything with stories. It's a powerful method of communication. And you're going to be running live masterminds starting on Thursday, the 22nd of June on your Vita. What will people learn when they come to those masterminds?
Well, you mentioned stories. I mean, we've all got stories. Sometimes we allow those stories just to become buried in the detritus of our past. So I want to bring some of these stories to the surface, because stories, when they carry a powerful message, are incredible. If you think about Disney films, and I use some of the same techniques as Disney. I did some work with Disney Institute and masterclasses in Scotland. So there is a technique around storytelling. And if you think of Disney, it goes through the characters. There's an adversary, there's a friendly protagonist, there's a real disappointment, and then in the end, there's a triumph. But there's always a learning point. And if that learning point works with children, it works with adults even more. Because we sometimes forget that, we tell stories and children listen. Children are attuned to these stories. Children get inspired, they laugh, they love stories, but we're all programmed for storytelling. So you learn about how to use the story to get a point across. Very powerful. But also, how do you take facts and figures? How do you turn them into something that people remember, that they will remember forever? So I talk about this and how, you could have, if you've got access to the web, you can take any figure and you can turn it into something magical, something that stays in people's minds, and they will tell others again and again and again. Because, listen, I contrast this approach with the approach of many politicians today, who say, we're going to spend 2.4 billion on this. My policy is, people aren't interested in how much you spend. People are not interested in your policy or your perspective. They're interested in how it impacts on them. So if we don't communicate like that, we are doing a disservice to the people we're talking to, and we're doing a bigger disservice to ourselves. Because if we've got something that matters to us and we're passionate about, and we cannot communicate that to the people that matter, then we've got a complete breakdown. And I think today we've reached a point where political discourse has gone, awry. It doesn't work anymore. No one listens to politicians. Where's the Martin Luther King of today? Where's the John F. Kennedy of today? Where's the Theodore Roosevelt of today? Can you think of any? I think of David Attenborough. David Attenborough is one of the most influential men in the world, because he has, not just one, but 3 generations have been completely absorbed in his view of the world, of the nature, of the skies, of the water, of the wildlife. And of course, he's a big influence on the whole climate change business. This guy is in his late 90s. So we're running out of those people. And I want to create more people that can do that. It's really important. So, all of these techniques, stories, how to use facts and figures. How, for example, do you persuade a child to tidy their bedroom? There are ways, and I have worked on those ways. So it's a very, very interesting, it's an entertaining course. There'll be lots of stories, there'll be lots of fun, but ultimately you will learn skills that I think are now the 21st century must.
Mike, we are delighted to have you on your Vita as a presenter. Your mastermind, as mentioned before, starts on Thursday, the 22nd of June at 5 p.m. GMT. People can join the mastermind by clicking the link in the comment section below. It's $40 a month for membership. That gets you access to Mike and all of the other live masterminds on your Vita, as well as all of the recordings of all previous sessions. Thank you, Mike, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday, the 22nd of June.
Well, I look forward to people joining me. You will enjoy it. It'll be fun.